Hello and welcome to a game played on grass live. I think this is our fourth episode. Third? I always get confused. I think last week was episode 3. I think I put it down as episode 3, so this will go as episode 4. Welcome to a game played on live. Game played on grass. Sorry, live. If you're watching it live, if you're watching it later. This week we are going to talk about Watford. Quite in depth on Watford, on their manager Javi Gracia, and also look at how they sort of put Spurs to the sword on Sunday, which was a surprising result, especially after what Spurs did to Manchester United on Monday night. But yeah, Javi Gracia, a few eyebrows were definitely raised when he first came in January to replace Marco Silva, who unfortunately got the boot because he was flirting with Everton, and he's since ended up with Everton, so obviously there's something in there. Yeah. But Javi Gracia came in. Not many people knew what he was about or what he'd done before. He'd been at a few clubs, I think, Brendan. He'd been at Rubin Kazan previously.
Yeah, he'd been in Greece too. He'd been at Almeria,
Malaga, Cadiz, yeah.
Obviously Spanish as well, so he was at home there with a couple of clubs. Did well. I mean, he was always with teams looking to get promotion. Got promotion a couple of times. But from what I read, he was never happy himself. Once he got him promoted, he wanted to continue on with the squad he had, and the club always wanted to give investment and improve the squad, but he wanted to keep loyalty to the players who had got them into that league.
And it is not a very interesting point there, Brendan, because realistically the only major signing that Watford made over the summer was Ben Foster, who's starting. The other 10 players were there last year, and he wanted, I suppose, to consolidate their efforts and to make them a more difficult team to beat, and he certainly succeeded so far this season.
Let's just sort of look at that. Last year, predominantly, Watford were sort of 4-2-3-1. And they would have really rotated. Troy Deeney's obviously the key man in there, but then they brought Andre Gray in, who's a massive part of that team now. But he's changed this year, and he's gone to a 4-4-2. But as we were saying before we came on air, I think you said to me, Brenton, he's more like it's a 4-2-2-2 or whatever. Yeah. And if you're watching Watford, like the two fullbacks are very pivotal, Jake, aren't they, to how they attack going forward?
Certainly, and the energy too. These are players that wouldn't always be the best in terms of defence. They're players that can be found out, but with the cover from Eddie and Capoue and Doucouré in midfield, these players have had the licence to get forward and to provide the width that this Watford team needs, and actually their forwards thrive on, because the Troy Deeney and Andre Gray, who thrive on good service into the box, and he's worked a system out over the summer, and it's certainly set them up in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if you look at Deeney and Gray, that also, because that forward line, that's very powerful, and power is a key thing to this Watford team. Like, it's how they're sort of driven in a way, and Gray, he's able to provide a long ball option. Yeah. So Troy Deeney's really pivotal, because he can either flick it on towards Gray, or what he can do is, what happens a lot is he'll bring the two wide players in, Pereira, who's had an unbelievable start to the season, and then Will Hughes, who's finally starting to show that he is Premiership calibre.
He did. I mean, I always thought originally when I saw him, he made his initial burst onto the scene, he looked really tasty.
Yeah, at Derby, wasn't he?
And then he had an injury problem at Watford last season, and he was out for a couple of months, I think. I think he actually came back against Chelsea when they beat Chelsea 4-1 Watford. But then he needed his full pre-season, and Gracia said that most of his squad had a good full pre-season, which was pivotal. This is why they're ready to go in this season, and it's the form that they've been on that has shown why. I think when he came in January, it's hard coming in mid-season. As a manager, he has said that he wanted to always get to pre-season of the following season. Finished 14th, and did a poor run of games in the last 10 games. I think they only maybe won 1 or 2. They only scored something like 2 away goals in their last 10 away games, and already they've scored 3 this season. So it just shows you the improvement, the time he's had to work with his players and properly drill them. I think he's obviously keen on fine detail, and he plans each match for each opponent, which I think is really important.
And I suppose one of the key things that he does need to sort out, and perhaps he has sorted out, is that when he came into Watford last season and replaced Marco Silva, he had 13 players injured. 13. of a first team squad, which is absolutely massive, especially for a club like Watford. Some of those players included Roberto Pereira, you know, players that you can't afford to do without. You talked about Will Hughes already, you know. Let's hope that he's got that side, that sports conditioning side sorted as well, so that the players aren't put under pressure and into positions whereby they could end up injured, and all the proactive measures are put in place to ensure that that doesn't happen. And you know, the very interesting thing, I know these comparisons have been made on social media platforms all day. Last season, Watford finished 14th with 41 points. The season before Leicester won the league, they finished 14th with 41 points. They had the exact same win number, draw number, and number of games lost. So, you know, maybe that's just a coincidence, just fortuitous. Let's not discount them yet.
I don't think they have the firepower that Leicester had. Leicester has had Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez.
True.
I think both those players are still better than what Watford have. I really like Watford. They sort of worry me, like with Liverpool. I don't know how you feel with your midfield, like, but I'll just talk about their midfield. Their midfield is so stupidly powerful, and they're happy enough to let Decore and Capuy look after that by themselves. They'll let, as we said, the fullbacks are bomb forward. Will Hughes and Pereira, you can tuck inside. Gray and Deeney's there, so there's 6 of them there, and they'll let Capuy and Decore look after everything else.
And you know what? Something very interesting to point out there is that this is where Javi Gracia is at home. As a defensive midfielder himself, he knows nothing better than how to set up his team with very solid bank of 2 defensive-minded midfielders who can attack. And you know, I remember going to an Arsenal game against Watford a few seasons ago at the Emirates, and Watford beat Arsenal that night. You know, and why they did that was because in the first half they outpowered Arsenal in the midfield. Capuy played that day, so did Decore. Arsenal just couldn't handle the firepower. Now, ultimately that dwindled maybe because of injuries in more recent times, but with both of those players together again, it is certainly causing problems to high calibre opposition. You know, I would be panicking if I was Manchester United. There's Tottenham that beat Manchester United 3-0. Watford's next opponents, having beaten Tottenham 2-1, is Manchester United at Vicarage Road.
That'd be an interesting game. And just when you're talking about the press and how Javi Garcia setting up defensively, which is so pivotal, obviously, how well they've been doing. If you watch it, like, the full press is the thing in football now. It's Jurgen Klopp obviously brought in, Emery is bringing it in now, and Sarri ball, Pochettino, Guardiola. It's all the big thing now, and how you go about your business. But Watford's is like, I don't want to do it disservice, but it's so like traditional sort of. You get, if you understand, they'll push you into one corner just for you to thump it long, and then Cathcart and Cavaselli, they'll just clean up at the back, and then they'll go again. But they'll just constantly try and put you in the corner to fire it long, whereas other teams will try and, like maybe Liverpool last year especially, will try to get teams to press the ball, to come into the middle, and then they'll snap it off you, and then they'll attack.
And you know what, I think that's another thing here. Teams will probably go with 3 centre halves to I suppose combat the attacking threat of this very powerful Watford side, and that leaves players open. For example, I've never seen Vertonghen or Alderweireld so uncomfortable on the ball, because as you say, they were pushed into the corners when they received it. They were under pressure immediately. Now, on occasion, Vertonghen did very well, but more often than not, he gave possession away. You know, this is something that this Watford side has worked very hard at accomplishing. Continued work is needed. The main positive that they have over other teams in that area of the table that have started so well is that they don't have European football to worry about.
Yeah.
They can play the same team week in, week out.
Yeah.
Apart from injuries, of course. You know?
And that the good thing about that team is that they can play more than one way.
Yeah.
You know, and Gracia knows that. He as I said earlier, he can set up that team, that 11, to play different formations all the time and play different tactically as well. Like, we've already seen them play open, attacking, expansive football, and then we've seen them do what they did against Spurs.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, with that 11 playing all these different ways, and then I think there's 7 new signings that haven't started yet as well. So he's obviously gradually, you know, working them into the side, which is good as well, because he doesn't want to rock the boat too much. Sometimes we see these teams maybe in the bottom half of the table, and they sign a load of players and they want to get them all in. They want, you know, the fans to see them. But this is a good way. He wants to be there for a while, and he wants to build it up gradually. And
4 wins from 4, like,
working.
It is working.
That said, you know, he doesn't want to upset the apple cart in terms of the other players that have obviously gotten Watford to where they are. But I think it was a good decision to bring in Foster, an experienced Premier League goalkeeper, and
who's been there before. He knows the club.
performing
Like,
well.
yeah.
You know,
He is doing very well. And another key part of their attack, just to put more about how they attack, is their set pieces. And they scored 2 goals from set pieces against Tottenham Hotspur, who are like, everybody when talks about the title challenge, Spurs are the team out of say the 3 that people are giving a chance. I'd include Chelsea as well, the 4 are given a chance to win the league at the minute. Spurs' defence was the best one, you argue, easily out of all 4 of those. And Watford with ease scored their 2 goals. They are so Cathcart literally, I think it was Dembele was marking him, who really didn't have a good game on Sunday, to fair him. He just pushed him off. No, see you later, mate. Bang, scores 2-1. Another goal was at Decore. Was it Decore got the other goal? Deeney, sorry, got the other goal. Again, pushes his marker off, and it's a free kick that comes in, and it's headed in. And it's so easy for them to do that. And again, it's against Spurs, like.
Set pieces are so key to what they do as well.
You're going to have to be this Watford side, like we all obviously don't support Watford, and they're going to be one of those teams this year for all 3 of us that I think we're not going to enjoy going and playing them.
No,
we're really not. It's going to be a game where at times you might think, just get out of here with a point, and see for a Watford, that's unreal. For Watford fans, must be absolutely buzzing. Like, for their side to be after 4 games, especially, and teams look at them going, nah, I don't really fancy that. Like,
they're big and strong and powerful, all
over the pitch.
And that will upset a lot of teams who, especially the likes of teams who want to play all this.
Yeah, and as has been said already, they are powerful in midfield. They are able to upset those teams who want to pass without any challenge. But they're not just stoppers, these midfielders. No. They're actually very technically gifted. I remember one instance in the game at Vicarage Road at the weekend whereby Decore just absolutely stepped around Dembele like he wasn't there.
Poor Dembele. He's getting roasted today as well.
Yeah, and I just don't understand, Pochettino, such an astute manager, allowed that to happen for so long in the game.
Do you think, and to touch on just the game as well, and a little bit about Spurs, do you think Pochettino was a bit naive on going, I know maybe Eric Dyer's maybe injured and Wanyama might be fully fit now, so maybe he didn't start him, but going only 1 midfielder in there defensive against such a powerful unit.
Do you know what I think he expected? I think he expected a long ball approach from Watford constantly, and he tried to, I suppose, combat that. But in actual fact, he underestimated the potential of the Watford midfield in terms of their ability to maintain possession, to set up chance. Will Hughes and Prey can pick a pass in the final third.
Yeah.
They're tidy players, and I think he underestimated that. He left his midfield very isolated, Dembele in particular, and I think he could have put out a more balanced side, to be honest.
And then he maybe thought as well that by changing the 3 at the back and having the 1 midfield, that Watford would maybe try and adjust to Spurs. But they didn't, and why should they when they're at home and they have such a structured system in place already, and they showed why they have that in place and how hard they have worked on it. And it worked. It wasn't and they're prepared. That's what I like about Javi Gracia's Watford. They're prepared to play that way. I think he said before that you feel empty if you win a game not playing the right way, but at the end of the day we're professionals, is what he said, and it's all about results really.
It's a business.
If he wants to play attacking football at the wrong time, then it's going to cost you results. So it's about balancing that, and balance is the key word. He uses it a lot, in any interview I've seen with him. Really, really impressive so far.
There's an unreal YouTube clip of him. I don't know if you've seen this when he's at Rubin Kazan. He's really at Rubin Kazan for about a year maybe, and I think he ended up finishing 8th, so they got rid of him. But at Rubin Kazan, he couldn't speak Russian. He'd never spoken before, so it was going to be very difficult. So he had a Russian translator with him, and as he's doing a session, and it's a defensive session, believe it or not, and he's trying to get players to know their shape when the ball's played here and it's played there, getting them to know triggers and stuff. He is running about, and he's you think if you've seen Amazon Prime how wild Pep gets, this is on a different level. He's so animated, and the wee translator's just his shadow following everywhere and trying to, and the players start laughing because he's trying to keep up with him. He's bang bang, and I was watching last night. And it was just really interesting. People say that how a manager presents himself and how he carries on is how his team presents himself, and sort of the way he was doing the session was I'd call it like, it was just drilled, drilled and organised sort of manic aggression, that sort of way. And that's the way they defend. They're so, like, as we said, they use the word so much, they're so powerful, but they're so direct in the power. Like, and then you'll say, like, the midfielders can't play, like Doucouré and obviously Capoue can play, but Watford would love it if they win the ball back off you in their final third. They'll just bypass that midfield, and then you have an issue, you have a problem, because if Troy Deeney holds it up, he can power past you, or he can bring Will Hughes and Burr in, or if he flicks it on, as I said earlier, Andre Gray is away, and you're in serious.
And just to pick up on that translator, you know, you never know, in 10 years or 15 years time, that translator could be sitting in front of the English media saying that he's won 3 Premier League titles. You know, it wouldn't be the first time.
Just a wee dig there. Josie got a win at the weekend though, so
that's true.
fair play to him.
I think part of his character as well, you know, tells you a lot about him. You see a lot of the managers these days, not just in the Premier League, but you know, all over Europe, who, you know, have quite a high opinion of themselves. Maybe it's based on winning trophies. Just when you're talking about Mourinho as well, I mean, he does have a high opinion of himself, correctly or not, you know, it's for other people to judge. But Gracia is very much a man of the people in terms of the, you know, the clubs he manages. He's almost like a player rather than being on the board side as well. And he done an interview recently with Sky Sports, and I think the reporter went in and introduced himself, and Gracia said hello or whatever, and he said, "Oh, this interview's going to be in Spanish." And he said, "Oh, thank you. Like my English is not that good yet." And the reporter said his English was unbelievable. He was just so modest in himself, and he had learnt the English because he was managing in Russia, and it was easier to learn English rather than to learn Russian. So that just tells you a bit about him. Do you know what I mean? Like
I'm always amazed how like sports people or whatever will go on a different. You see it a lot, obviously, in football because there's so much in the European transfer market, and the world transfer market, rather than all the sports. But they'll pick up another language when, like, a manager, especially when he's like in his, like, say, early 40s, close to 50s, and he has to learn a new language because it's supposed to be so difficult to learn these languages as you get older. And I was watching his press conference from Sunday's game, and he was word for word perfect, like in English. And it's embarrassing. No, I would never really. I try and speak Spanish, and I know Jake is obviously fluent in Spanish, but I try and speak Spanish. It's just a complete joke. But I always find it like there's obviously something about them then that they can do that and pick that up. But just like I was only 4 games in, they're level with ourselves.
Just want to say something else about the psychological strength of the man. You know, he took a chance to come into a club which has had multiple managers in the last few years,
6 or 7,
you know, an unbelievable amount of managers, and he decided, yes, I'm going to take a chance, and this is my opportunity to manage in the Premier League. He's taken that chance. Not only did he come in and he saved Watford last season as was expected, like they weren't expected to go down, he lived with the fact that all summer he was favoured to be the first sacked manager in the Premier League, and he's won the first 4 games of the Premier League season. That takes a lot of strength, you know, a lot of self-belief. And I know you said he's very humble in that, but he obviously believes, you know, in his way.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that.
It's very hard working.
Nobody was mentioning Watford, and even I was mentioning teams like Wolves, who probably started very well, Fulham, who have picked up, and they're doing as you probably expect. But like John Taggart, who watched the show, and we will talk about Palace some week very soon, they're the team that I thought Watford are doing what I thought Palace were going to do. And Watford, they come out of the blue, Watford, to get 4 wins from 4, especially they haven't had an easy-ish run of games. Like Burnley's not going to be easy, with Spurs especially not easy. Where do you think realistically this Watford team could finish this year? We're 4 games in, so it's really hard, but looking at their squad, looking at how they're playing,
you see, as Brendan says, like the only real player that's got a chance that they've brought in, they've improved the squad, they've brought in a number of players, maybe more squad players this season. The only player that's got into the starting lineup is obviously Ben Foster. You have to remember, and the benefit of this for a coach like Gracia, of having a full week to prepare for each new team and each new approach. Like that is gold dust in Premier League football when time goes in so fast, when your next game approaches so quickly, and yet he has the time to do that. So ultimately, will they finish in the top 4? No. Will
top 10?
Certainly. They'll be.
I think they could
Last
finish
season's
7th.
Burnley.
I think they could finish 7th. I think
European football
Yeah.
And do you know what as well? Is touching that.
has to be a target.
Look at the way Burnley have got on and started after a run in the Europa League, and I hope that doesn't put the likes of Watford. It won't put Everton off because Everton want to be in Europa League, and that's fair enough. I think they're big enough to play Champions League. To be honest, Everton, if they can get their act together. But that's no. I think that wasn't a dig at all. I think they're big enough to play in the Champions League.
It says the man with an Ian Rush poster just over in the corner there.
But I hope it doesn't put, like I said, I don't hope it doesn't put Watford off. I hope that they do go for that and they do try and get Europa League. I think it'd be amazing for them to play in Europe next year. I don't think we're helped the fact that it's Thursday night football, but that's we don't make a decision at UEFA. I think that can be changed. It should be changed. But I would love to see them come 7th and really push for it. Even top 6, one of us stutters and they'll knock us out of it in fair play. But they're really, as I said, I'm actually not looking forward to going to Vicarage Road because we haven't had a good run there anyway, and I think we could be in trouble again the way they played on Sunday. And it wasn't if they were inventing football again. The first half was diabolical. It was dire,
Awful.
but
They made it awful.
exactly, they brought Spurs down to that. Not even their level, sorry, but they killed that game off in the first half. Showed Spurs that they're up for it and they're a little bit stronger than them. And then once Spurs had gone in front, it was really only a matter of time for Watford scored again in another minute. Like.
Yeah, because Spurs and we'll have to say also that Spurs didn't play well either.
No, that was very poor performance from Spurs.
Their only 2 shots on target were long range efforts by Ericsson. The goal obviously was an own goal, so it wasn't even on target.
Shows you how well Watford defended.
Yeah. But it just a point about Spurs as well is that will they now, after that defeat, not even defeat, more the performance, start to worry about their lack of investment? And I think the answer is yes. To bring on Harry Winks, yes, he's a decent player, but he's not a game changer at all.
But
He's not Spurs level.
But Brendan, just look at it like this, you know. A North London club gave Tottenham the blueprint of how to move stadium or how to change the stadium, and Tottenham have utterly failed in that project. Absolute farcical in terms of rearranging their next round Carabao Cup game.
They're not playing any Champions League games.
Yeah.
It's all at Wembley.
It's all at Wembley.
And I just think that's absolutely diabolical. And I think, you know, the people, the hierarchy at Tottenham need to really ask questions of themselves. Firstly, not having the stadium ready, which of course is out of their hands to an extent, but they didn't have the plans in place. Of course they arranged the first few games, like the Watford game should have been at White Hart Lane, right? And they changed that. That's fair enough. But ultimately, the stadium should have been ready to rock.
Yeah.
You know, they should have followed the Arsenal model. They didn't, and that's why they're so many years behind Arsenal.
And, you know, when this stuff affects your team and your fans, when you are not ready or settled off the pitch, your team, Tottenham won't win the Premier League this season.
Not a
Definitely
chance.
not. Because their team is unsettled, because their stadium wasn't ready, and the fans don't know where their home is.
Yeah.
They haven't been to their new home in a new season, which they may or may not be in before Christmas.
If they don't get in before Christmas, I would count them out of the Premier League. I wouldn't count them out just yet. I think what happened on Sunday was they were just very stupid and naive. I think Pochettino, who I think he's a brilliant manager. He's one of the best in the Premier League. And if Klopp was to leave us and go take over Germany, I'd certainly have Pochettino heartbeat. But I think he was very naive, and I also thought the Spurs players were a bit naive. They thought because they beat Manchester United quite convincingly on Monday night, they thought they'd just turn up, we're Tottenham Hotspur, and we'll sort of stroll through this game and beat Watford because it's only Watford. Watford hadn't beaten them since 1987 in that fixture, and Watford were ready for it and they turned them over. So I don't know. The stadium thing is an issue. They should have been in by now. They should have been starting a new season in a new stadium, and they have, yes, slipped themselves behind. And I get what you're saying, and I would be worried that if they're not in by Christmas and there's more costs going on to this, and there's more costs going on, and it's building and building and building, then are they going to be able to afford someone, a calibre player next year? Because they certainly cannot go through even a January transfer window without buying someone, as you said. They look like they're going to, like, maybe that's why they didn't have that, they couldn't put Wanyama in, he wasn't ready, and Dembele was left on his own.
Like, you have to think, there's a number of things going on here. Think of the players, right? They're probably thinking, we didn't sign anybody in January, or in the summer. Will we sign anybody in January? It's unlikely. The stadium isn't ready. How long will that take? Will we sign anybody going into the future? More and more pressure's building on my shoulders if I'm Harry Kane. You know, what sort of road has Tottenham peaked and are they heading back down into a trough? Okay, which is possible. You know, players like Harry Kane are going to be asking questions here.
Harry Kane
Real Madrid are
lost
still
that
after.
well.
Real Madrid are still after a centre forward.
They'll
Now, I
want a
know
marquee
they
player.
signed Rodrigo.
Well, they'll be
you
after
know,
a
but-
marquee player, be it January or be it next summer. And
I was about to bring up Harry Kane as a separate issue. Yes, he scored 2 goals in 4 games this season, but he's had maybe less than 10 shots on target. I think I'm right in saying that. He hasn't looked like
Sure.
Harry Kane in the last couple of seasons, and that would really worry me because Tottenham, you know, as much as they maybe don't want to admit it, Tottenham is Harry Kane.
yeah,
They
that's
really are. Like, and if he starts to go off the boil, then they're in trouble because over the last 2-3 seasons he has never been off the boil when he's been playing. Yes, he's been injured, and you saw what it did to them in the season Leicester won the league. So that is so key. And if all these other things that aren't going right, Harry Kane's not feeling right, I think Spurs are in a bit of trouble.
Like, just a thought, I don't know what you think about this, but like, see this now, this international break of 10 days or whatever, like, I think that's utterly unnecessary. Would you not be safer giving those players who, most of whom have come back from the World Cup, giving them an extra 10 days off and forgoing this international break?
well,
Starting the season 10 days
that's a good little segue into our next piece because we're going to talk a little bit about international football, or really how we're not bothered about it, to be honest. And we will have a Spurs week where we talk about Spurs and how they've been getting on. It'll be later on down the season probably. But yeah, as Jake said, the international breaks started, and of course Adam Lallana has got injured. Has hardly played for Liverpool. Gareth Southgate calls him into the squad to have a look at him. First training session, he does his groin. Could be out for a number of weeks.
That's it. Like,
It's
to be
just,
honest.
and I am a massive fan of Adam
So am
Lallana
I.
because he's good, technically really good footballer. Seems like a lovely fella too. And then this happens.
You know, but is this a niggle? You know, that these players don't want to play these games. Raheem Sterling as well has pulled out of the squad.
He pulled out, but Liverpool have sort of announced that he has picked up an injury,
Okay.
and they don't seem
Liverpool?
too impressed. Yeah, that no,
About
not
Lallana.
Sterling Lallana.
You
Yeah.
issue still
I,
Sterling.
well, you know, if he looks at Kloppo someday this season and thinks, I'll maybe go back there, and I'd happily take him back. But yeah, this week, so the Nations League starts. If you aren't aware of it, I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's too complicated. So
Google it.
they play each other in glorified friendlies that boosts their coefficients and helps them get
Easier groups.
better seeding for groups for qualifying. Am I right?
Yeah.
Basically a load of shite. But anyway.
For your
God
Connie
forgive
Conte.
you there.
Oh, sorry.
Go
But yes, the two Irelands are playing. Northern Ireland are playing Bosnia on Saturday, and then they play Israel in a friendly on Tuesday night. Bosnia is part of the Nations League, so it's the friendly that's important. The Republic of Ireland play Wales in the important friendly, and then they play Poland in a not so important friendly. And just on Republic of Ireland, like, which sort of falling a little bit as well. Roy Keane seems to be falling out with people again, and it seems to be that's what's the underlying issue that has caused certainly Harry Arter not to come back, and also Declan Rice maybe to reconsider his future. Is it not near time that the Republic of Ireland and the FA told Roy Keane to do one and go and stay on ITV out of the road?
It seems like after a certain amount of time, he has to go back to this, you know, wind-up merchant, sort of angry head, whatever it is. It's just maybe to keep himself in the headlines. I don't know what it is, but he's not doing his job as an assistant if he is the main person that everybody's talking about all the time. Martin O'Neill recently did a catalogue of interviews opening up to the media and different press to try and probably improve the relationship and improve his image and the team's image or the squad under their leadership. And Roy Keane's just gone and tore it all apart. Is basically what he's done. By, you know, the players are the only people that Roy Keane should be concerned about. All the rest of that stuff is Martin O'Neill's area.
But like, I just personally think that a number of high-profile positions that have come up in the Premier League or in the Championship, Roy Keane's name has been nowhere near them. And to be honest, it won't be, because he just hasn't earned it.
I get.
But he's trying to work his way back into the reckoning for high-profile jobs, as high-profile as he can get at this stage in his career.
I don't think he'll get another management job.
I would very much doubt it. Like, I don't know who would give him the chance. The only sort of thing that you might say, maybe the likes of Brendan Rodgers going, maybe Celtic would give him a chance because of the connection. Maybe, you know. But other than that, like, it's very hard to justify him getting a managerial position.
Are you bothered about international football this week, or?
Not at all.
I don't know if I'll see any of it, because I'll not be bothered.
It doesn't excite me whatsoever.
Championships on another man, I'll be focusing
I'll be way focusing on that himself for a laugh. But you know what I mean? Jake's completely right. Like, we've only the World Cup ended about 20 hours ago, and now we're having an international break.
I just think forgo that early international break, like.
It's pointless.
Particularly after a major tournament.
I wouldn't have international football during the season. I wouldn't have qualifying during the season. I'd break it down so it's shorter. You play tiny groups, bish bash bosh. You go off to the World Cup, you go off to the Euros in the summer. You know, that sort of way. Maybe have a longer summer break. So you start
and the quality of the football is shocking, like, to be fair, across the board. Like, you get the odd good game, but the qualifying football is poor. Like, why not just do it over 2 weeks? Maybe in that 2 weeks have, 4 games, and in that 2 weeks you play all your group games and you decide who goes to just 2 weeks.
Something like, or a month even, like, you know what, at the end of the year, let's do it like in say June, the whole of June, a qualifying tournament for the next year's tournament, and then you start your actual full league season maybe later on, start of September.
And you get through it quicker because you're not stopping for
you're not stopping for this shite.
Yeah.
10 I forgot it was 10 days. That's completely ruined my Tuesday night.
I know, because not only is it this weekend, but it's not, you don't have football this weekend, you have to wait till the following weekend. Like, it's still
for Liverpool to absolutely thump Spurs and put them on their box. I hate that long
wait. I know, all of this like absolute annihilation of Spurs, and yet they could beat Liverpool very convincingly.
The beat is convincingly last.
Harry Kane, could
I'm looking forward to seeing how Virgil van Dijk copes with Harry Kane. But again, we'll talk about Spurs at some point. Yeah, we've no interest in this international. The only interesting thing that's happened so far in this Nations League is the fact that Denmark are going to play amateur players.
You're going to play a futsal team?
The futsal. They actually were asking for players, and I missed it on Twitter. I had to put my name forward, changed my name to Yondal Filippo McCullough or something like that there, and got a game. Like, imagine that. I just got up and he's not even playing. He's injured. Who would I kick? I just kung fu kicked maybe one of the Welsh players or something just for a laugh. But they're playing their futsal team because their team has thrown their head up with the
Payment?
Yeah, it's
and John Jensen has just been named as the coach for these 2 games.
Yeah, what player he was.
I know.
And they're in danger of being kicked out of like UEFA competitions as well. It's all over an image. If you haven't seen it, it's all over like an images issue where basically they signed a new sponsorship deal and the players rightly thought that they should be getting more of the money from it because it's them that does everything for it. Yeah, and they didn't. It's the same thing. The Danish Football Association did the exact same thing with the women's team, and the women's team were like, nah, we're not playing, and the whole game was cancelled and all. The senior team have done exactly the same. But this time the FA have gone, we'll just play our futsal team and you boys can sit at home.
Really though, a separate issue is I don't think international players should be paid at all by their country.
Neither do I.
You're getting, the majority of them are getting, if you're representing your nation, you're getting enough money at your club that you do not need money from your country. You should be
expenses.
It should be pride to play for your country without money.
I think Mbappe gave up his World Cup fee, didn't he?
Yeah, he gave it a charity.
But the actual English team have been doing that for a while as well. They gave up their fee and they gave it back to charity, which is totally 100%.
For that,
I would get that. You're playing for your country. It's a big enough honour. But yeah, we're not really bothered about this Nations League. Hopefully it kicks off somewhere and there's a full scale row or something. Maybe it's something to talk about. But
maybe the Danish women will go out and play Wales instead. Like.
Aye, and
they're really struggling.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, but unfortunately, Liverpool don't have any players playing in the Danish team that can go home and rest. You have Christensen, and obviously Eriksen's gone home from Spurs to lick his wounds after the Watford game. But
he would need a game, he hasn't played.
Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, another little thing to sort of finish up, and we obviously need to talk about our fantasy league too, because unfortunately I think Andrew Renshaw's back in the lead of it. But the Ballon d'Or list was announced. I don't know if it was announced today or it was announced yesterday.
Yesterday.
Mo Salah's on it, Luka Modric is on it, and some fella called Ronaldo is on it. And it seems to have blown people's heads up that Lionel Messi isn't on it. Not Messi's though. He's gone on holidays with Luis Suarez and Philip Coutinho, and they're off sunning themselves somewhere and having a crack.
That's another thing. The South Americans can do what they want now.
Yeah, well, Brazil have a training camp, I think, in New York.
Yeah, but I mean,
Alisson's gone to learn to do better Cruyff turns, and like they obviously don't. Whatever, like, Messi doesn't care. But like, do you care about the Ballon d'Or?
not really.
I used to really like the Ballon d'Or. I
would care if the Chelsea player was up for it. Like,
I'm not even
that's the only
bothered
reason.
if Mo Salah gets it or not, because he's not. Luka Modric
He's not gonna win it,
should win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
Out of those three that's in it, if Messi was in it, Messi should win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
But it's
People
not.
come back. Yes, I know what Messi is unbelievable. He probably should be in the top three, but like, people always bring up, look at the stats, look at the stats, look at the stats.
Yeah.
But like, when you look at the position Modric plays and the other effect he had on the games he played, you can't put it down to stats. You know, everyone remember this, the last Champions League that Real Madrid won as the Modric one, because he was so pivotal.
The World Cup, he was the best player in the World
But
Cup.
ultimately, like, gentlemen, I don't know what you think about this. Football is a collective sport, and to be honest, I would do away with all individual accolades.
Yeah, the Ballon d'Or, I'd happy enough with that too. Like, and as well, like,
You know,
like Messi,
win it as a team, like, or don't bother. Like.
in my opinion, Messi's the best we've seen. Ronaldo's like literally a hairline away from him, whatever. But Messi won it 1 year, and Iniesta should have won it. I think it was the year Iniesta scored the goal in the World Cup final. Iniesta should have won it that year, by hands down, and they give it to Messi. It's a popularity vote, which means if it goes on votes, Mo Salah's going to win it because he seems to win every vote he's ever entered in. And he shouldn't win it. It should be Luka Modric. It shouldn't have been up front or top three. It should have been given to Luka Modric. He had such an unbelievable season, and you're right. He completely mesmerised Liverpool in the Champions League finals. Like he had those watches on and he hypnotised them. And again in the World Cup, he was brilliant at times. That goal against was it Argentina, where he smashed in. It was unreal, and they were so unlucky not to go on. And they met a really good France team. Obviously beat them in the World Cup final. But yeah, I agree with you, Jake. It should just be team honours, collective accolades, positional honours like they do in the Champions League. Oh, best goalkeeper, best defender, best midfielder, best striker, see us all later, whatever.
Top goal scorer.
But this whole theme about it, I don't get it. Like, people are properly losing their heads. Like, well paid, respected journalists losing their shit because someone didn't put enough an individual award at it. Seriously, that's what International Football Week does to you.
I know, you get lost, your head goes on the very simple things, like you shouldn't really pass any remarks, you know.
Like Andrew as well, top in the fantasy league.
Well, that's right, you know, Renshaw rejects, well, not a very much like rejects in our league anyhow. Blasted right up to the top again, 285 points in total, which is unbelievable after 4 game weeks. 4 ahead of the next Fergal Campbell. I must just give a shout out to Jared Devine. Hello Jared, how you doing? He won the most points last week, 68 with his team Divine Inspiration.
Oh, nice.
So nice
big fan of that
name there. And
who's he having his team?
Walker did very well from Hazard. His captain.
Are we any closer, Jake, to not giving away £100?
Realistically, gentlemen, you must start saving on the pound because we're nowhere near it. And that's the reality.
Can
we're
I just say
on
as
the
well,
second page of the league stands, which is not good.
Andrew actually Snapchatted me on Sunday night with a pint in his hand to toast that he was back. Well, yeah, Sunday night to toast himself that he was back top of the league again. So pull your finger out, please, if you're playing this game, because I'm not giving that man £100 of my own money. I'm not doing it. Like, so please, someone who's second in that league. Or
second is
Jared Devine, another super solid week.
Second is Fergal Campbell, Murder on the Dance Floor.
Right, oh, nice again, like some of these are really good. Fergal, if you can pull it out, I'll give you £110 if you can beat Andrew, but yes please, somebody beat him.
And there's obviously a member of Theresa May's cabinet, Derek Crilly, with his team No Sleep Till Brexit.
Oh my god, lads, some of those team names are absolutely horrific. But yes, that's sort of us really. There's nothing else. No, happy enough with Chelsea's start, Breton?
International week is just killing us, like. But
yeah, it's
Yeah, obviously 4 wins from 4. Playing some really nice football. Yet to be properly tested. Like, I don't mean that against Arsenal. Like, I just mean
there's no need to be that disrespectful to Jake.
They're obviously sorting themselves out, but
I've had a hard week, Brent.
Well, I suppose they were kind of tested 3-2. But the real test will come away from home.
He's still going.
Away from home. Away from home at Arsenal will be a test. Away from home at the top 6. Like Liverpool, Man City, that's where your season's won.
Yeah.
That's where you get beat. Jake, you happy enough with Sunday's result?
Result, very happy with the result. Performance in patches was okay.
That's being generous to the midfield and the defence. Until Touré came on.
Touré again will start, has to start the next game. You know,
Must
he
start.
was unbelievable when he came on. Is I know we talk about stats, but his stats were superb.
Oh, stats have their place.
His contribution
Oh, yeah.
to the collective result was very much important. You know, he set up Lacazette's goal, obviously, but other things that he did really impressed me more than that.
Do you know what I like about it
Simple
as well?
things.
He gets fouls, but he's that much maniac, he doesn't realise he's getting fouled.
Yeah.
He gets kicked over and runs on as if, play on, but the free kick's been given because he's just typical Uruguayan
Yeah,
maniac.
and like, to be honest, I think that Xhaka,
Should
his
retire.
places in the team is really under threat. You know, he's really
It's been that for 2
struggling.
years. Like.
Yeah, I know, but like there is football, and believe it or believe it not, it's
I don't
just
believe it.
not the play. I just don't think
It must be
Arsenal's
table
the team
football.
for him to show it. You know, but Touré and Guendouzi in midfield would be sublime. I would also drop Ramsey. You know, if you look at the goals that Arsenal scored, Ramsey wasn't involved in any of them. The reason being is that he slows down the play too much. You know, they used to give off about Arsenal having no British players in the team. It was great because they could actually play football.
It just reminded me.
And I mean proper football. You know,
There's a
Even
little,
Shamak.
there's a little fella in Spain
yeah.
that you could do with having back, and he's back playing football again. It's brilliant seeing
Sandy
it.
Cazorla.
Oh, he's brilliant, like,
It's
isn't
good
he?
to
He's
see it.
just brilliant. And I
He
just
started well.
He has started very well, and another people in Spain that have started well is Real Oviedo over there in the far corner. 3 games they played, unbeaten, drew 2 of them and won 1, and they're playing Cadiz at the weekend.
And Javi Gracia, those clubs.
Yeah, and a packed stadium, it looked class. In Cadiz, and they were 1-0 down, but thankfully on I think it was 91st or 90th minute they managed to get an equaliser, which was an own goal as well, which makes it even sweeter to keep the unbeaten streak going.
But like, Philip, you know, is it just embroidered into that club to just leave things to the last minute? Like, you need a pacemaker to follow them. Like,
Tell me about
and
it.
I don't need that. I'm following Arsenal already.
I got enough stress trying to go and watch their last game last year when the game was moved and I missed it. So yes,
Yeah.
it is pandemonium. They've also signed a couple of decent players, and one of them, Joel Barakenis, the Panamanian international. He looks class. Me and Brent were watching him last week.
It's a bit of class that they needed actually up front.
Yeah, he scored 2 and he set up 2. To look much better this year. Cadiz is going to be one of the tougher grounds, so to go there away from home and come away with a point was brilliant for them. So delighted that they're up and running. And
Hopefully you can get up and join Huesca.
yes, and who gave Barcelona a game of it for the first half, and then Barcelona just went, no, you don't get it, and they absolutely bulldozed them. Yeah. So
But always look at the positives. You know, they did manage to score 2 goals. So
well, yeah,
add the new camp.
yeah, that's what you tell the under 7s.
For winning.
They were,
Yeah,
yeah, they
no,
were
no.
at one point. And just, like, we all one more minute left. Real Madrid have started very well. Started playing very good football since they got rid of that
And as,
pork and cheese fella.
and I see Lopetegui saying, you know, like he doesn't regret giving up the Spain job. You know, not that we can blame him. Like if he had to go and play a Nations League match or manage a team in the Nations League, like that would be pretty bad. You know, but he's happy. The team seem to be playing well. No Ronaldo, no Zidane. You know,
And the star quality's still there.
and the star quality is still
They're
there.
playing better football than they played last
They
year.
are. They are.
Which is quite scary.
Yeah, it's not.
Because they won the
No.
Champions League.
Well, they did. Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely won it.
Yeah, and also what about the Champions League draw? The Champions League draw when Sergio Ramos was presented with the best defender in the competition and he down tapped Mo Salah on the shoulder.
I would have broken his hand off.
Why was Mo Salah there when he didn't win anything? Or did he win?
There,
something?
he was nominated. It was
Oh.
him. Keylor Navas was nominated.
Yeah.
Keylor
Luka
Navas won the
Modric,
goalkeeper.
he won the goalkeeper, and Modric, and they were nominated for
Player.
Right, okay.
player.
And did he win anything now?
Modric won it.
Modric won it.
Salah just went for the crack.
He just ended up going for the. Had to spend time with those 3 pricks.
Maybe he's realising because the season has started so slowly, you know, personally and individually that that was his last chance of some sort of stardom.
Started slow, he scored 2. Him, Firmino and Mane have scored the same amount of goals as they did they've scored the same amount of goals as City did this point last year, right? The 3 strikers together as City as a team did last year, and they've had 10 fewer shots than Man City as a team had last year. So
no, I wasn't getting it, but
no, I wanted to beat that out anyway. I actually think Mane started the better out of all.
Oh, he has,
season,
yeah, he's definitely been the most clinical.
No, we managed to get a shot at and managed to get the seat in the Nations League. Absolutely blitzed.
Even talking about international football and not do it again.
No, unless it's a tournament or unless there's a full scale ahead of the game. Like, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, and actually, I think Northern Ireland ladies must have been playing at Portadown Stadium tonight, because I saw a few people heading in.
Ah, so they were, that's right. Forgot all about that. We might go to another under-21s game actually.
Aye, that was good.
They're better crack.
Yeah, they are better. We saw Adama Traore who went and blitzed in West Ham.
Manuel Pellegrini is a man who we might not get to actually analyse, because he's probably not going to be there
That
much
might
longer.
have to be the next time we're back.
You know, I would actually make a case for Karen Brady being the first female manager in the Premier League, because, you know, everything else has been tried.
Yeah. Thanks for watching if you're watching live. Also, just Kieran Rice, happy birthday again, Ricey. Thanks for your comment there about Colin Kaepernick. But yes, everyone, thanks for watching if you watch it live. Thanks for watching if you're watching it afterwards. As always, join in. Like, we like to hear from you during the show. And give us, Ricey, I'm going to slap you tomorrow morning. Give us some of your questions during the show, and during the week, hit us up on our social media pages with some questions or topics you want us to talk about. I think we should nail it down now that we'll talk about Crystal Palace next week.
Yeah.
Because John Taggart has been on at us
During
pre-season or before the season started. You want to talk about it. So, John, tune in next week, and we'll tell you why why Wilfred Zaha is not as good as Jimmy Vardy. All right. Good luck. See you next week.
Bye.